everybody. Welcome to today's Search the Scriptures study 33 in the Gospel of Mark. And this will cover chapter 15, beginning at the 22nd verse and going through verse number 41. If you have a Bible, you may want to take it out and open it up to Mark 15, beginning at verse number 22. And we will cover two different questions today. The first one is this: with what words did the passers-by and the chief priests and scribes mock and revile Jesus? And what have you seen which they failed to see, which makes you believe that nevertheless he is the Christ? And secondly, what is the answer to the question in verse number 34? And what is the significance of the rending of the veil, and what consequent benefit can we now enjoy? So keep an eye out for verse 34 and the question that is given there. Let's look now at Mark chapter number 15, beginning with the 22nd verse. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him, dividing up his clothes, and they cast lots to see what each would get. And it was the third hour when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." They crucified two robbers with him, one on his right and one on his left. And those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So, you who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, come down from the cross and save yourself." In the same way, the chief priests and the teachers of the law mocked him among themselves. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. Let this Christ, the King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may see and believe." Those crucified with him also heaped insults upon him. Verse 33, at the 6th hour, darkness came over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And when some of those standing near heard this, they said, "Listen, he's calling Elijah." One man ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a stick, and offered it to Jesus to drink. "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down," he said. With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus heard his cry and saw how he died, he said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." And some women were watching from a distance, and among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the younger, and of Joseph and of Salome. In Galilee these women had followed him and cared for his needs, and many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem were also there. Question 1, with what words did the passers-by and the chief priests and the scribes mock and revile Jesus, and what have you seen which they failed to see, which makes you believe that nevertheless he is the Christ? Well, the passers-by insulted the Lord by saying, "You're going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. So come down from the cross and save yourself." The chief priests and teachers of the law said, "He saved others, but he can't save himself. Let this Christ, this King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may believe, see and believe." Jesus told Thomas after the resurrection, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." I've seen the power of a sin-forgiven life. I've felt that power. That's why I believe. I don't need to see. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe. Question number 2, what is the answer to the question in verse 34? What is the significance of the rending of the veil, and what consequent benefit can we now enjoy? Well, the question was, my God, why have you forsaken me? Jesus was forsaken because he had become sin. The Father can't embrace sin and therefore could not embrace his Son in that moment of pain. I've never really thought about this before until just today, studying this scripture. As David tore his garments at the news of the death of Absalom, God tore the curtain in the temple at the death of his son. The tearing of that curtain gives us all direct access into his glory and his power. So when the curtain was rent in two, it was like God rending his garments at the death of his son and inviting us all in to his presence. I hope you find a moment in time today to enter into the presence of the Lord. I know in a few moments I'm going to go down into our prayer room here at the church and enter into the presence of God. I hope this study is a blessing to you. I hope God is blessing your day. Have a fantastic rest of your day.